2025 was a pretty impactful year for me. My mom survived breast cancer again. I moved in with one of my best friends. I got paid to edit videos in another channel. I made a lot of new friends. I finished second in the Battlegrounds tournaments with some big players, and I got a new position at work. But looking back at the year, I also see all the personal projects I started but I did not finish, and that's what this video is about. I'll be going over the projects quickly, so if you're curious to see them in their full length, I've put a link to a playlist in the description. My theme for 2025 was the year of experiments. A theme is a twist on New Year's resolution. I recommend this CGP Grey video if you're interested to learn more, but basically for me, I just wanted to focus on trying new stuff, both in my personal life and in content creation. In that vein, I wanted to make an experiment video every week to try stuff I've never done. My first experiment was to make a video in the style of a silent movie. I selected a movie I watched at random, put it in black and white, chose some clips, and added text in order to create a silent story. It was not excellent, but it was still pretty good and I liked the result. The issue I had was the music. In silent movies, the music is important to the story. They have an orchestra following all the moods, twists, and turns. But for my video, I tried to take a bunch of copyright-free music that would follow the moods from scene to scene, but they didn't mix well together. I couldn't transition properly from one song to the next. At the end, I didn't manage to fix that issue and my silent story was doomed to remain silent. Next experiment was to make a movie trailer in another genre than the original movie, like Silence of the Lambs as a romantic comedy, Elf as a thriller. For me, it was Amelie as a horror movie. I identified good footage that would fit well, but upon crafting the trailer, I had issues trying to understand the story I wanted my trailer to tell. It felt like my clips were disjointed without an overarching narrative, and I wasn't sure if the limitation was my own creativity or the source material not giving me enough to make a horror trailer. But what really killed my drive to finish this project is that the last sequence of my trailer was reminiscent of a video I made 6 years before, and that video was way better. So I was confronted with the fact that maybe I'm getting worse over the years. Then I was done with making experiment videos just for the sake of making experiment videos. It was a decent idea, but I didn't really feel attached to the projects I was making, and forcing myself to do that every week was just too much. So I decided to go back to streaming on Twitch and making content for the game I play. I play Hearthstone Battlegrounds, and there are two modes, solos and duos. Solos is the competitive mode, but I always felt like duos also had competitive potential. I felt like what is holding it back is that there are not a lot of guides or content for duos, so I thought I could fill that void by streaming duos and making guides for the game mode. I released 2 guides and was about to release a third one when my computer decided it was no longer able to help me edit videos. I needed to get a new computer, but I procrastinated since my computer could still do other tasks. A few months later, I received the parts and built my new PC, and I finally finished recording my third video. It was garbage. My mic settings were bad on the new PC, and I hated how the video sounded. And not only that, I also felt there was something off with my energy. I think I just didn't have the enthusiasm to work on that. So I could have started over, but my ambitions of being a duos expert were behind me. On my new PC, I started working again on a website I've been working on for the last 3 years. It's a web app where I can filter the card library of Battlegrounds, kind of like the official website, but with some features that I felt were lacking in the real website and that they would never implement. That's a pretty simplistic summary of my project, but I don't want to spend too much time describing it. So for this one, I might not fully abandon this project, maybe it's just on hold for now. My main issue is that it's a lot of upkeep to stay up to date with the new changes every patch and fix problems that the new data introduced. If I continue this project, I might just try to open it up for collaboration. I've been doing this alone the whole time and I learned a lot, but I might not always know the best practices, and also collaborators can bring new ideas to the table. I also had an idea in the back of my mind for a while. I wasn't really sure what to call it, the gist of it, or Too Long Didn't Watch. The idea was that I would summarize movies or TV shows in a short video just to tell the big picture. My expected audience is people who don't want to watch something but still want to know what it's about and what they're missing out by not watching it. So it's really a short summary of the movie or the show. It felt like an interesting project to me because there's endless content for me to work on, and it makes my TV habits feel more productive. I thought this could be my revolution, that I could just start a new channel where I do just these videos. Well, after 2 videos, I was sick of it. It felt monotonous and soulless to make these videos. It wasn't interesting to me and I didn't feel the space to be creative. I actually feel like it's the type of videos AI will do, if that's not already the case. And although I think my idea wasn't bad, I wouldn't mind someone else, human or not, to take over. Afterwards, I started working as a video editor for a channel. Not for too long, like less than a month. I was making highlight videos and I learned a lot with the first video because I didn't know what the expectations were for highlight videos, but afterwards it was just repetitive work. And it's for a channel that produces daily videos, so I'm not incentivized to work the extra mile and do something interesting. I just need to do the basic work and then move on to the next video. And these videos have a similar shelf life. People don't watch a highlight video that was released a week ago. Another issue I had with this work is the nagging thought that what I'm doing for this other streamer, I could just do for my own stream. Like, I know how to make highlight videos, why not try to grow my own channel? And that's what I tried doing for a few weeks, but I just don't enjoy making highlight videos, not even for myself. And at that point I was not enjoying Battlegrounds that much anymore either. And to have content to edit for my channel, I need to actually play the game. There are many YouTubers who do mashups of the movies that came out in the year, and for my last project of the year, I wanted to do my own spin on this and do it with what I watched during the year instead. It has less mainstream appeal since no one really cares what I watch aside from me, but it's not bad to have projects just for myself. I just wanted to have fun with this, and like this current video, be able to rewatch the video and be like, huh, I watched all of that in 2025. It's also a lot less footage to do it with what I watched than doing it with the movies that came out in the year. But still, I underestimated how long it would take me to download all the trailers, cut them up for clips and dialogues, and then try to make something out of that. My main problem was choosing music, which is critical for these matchups since you want songs that fit the different moods, and also you want to edit to the beat. I had inspiration with one song, but it was more for fun. I didn't think it would fit into the greater narrative of my video. And at the end, time was running out. It was nearly 2026, and I knew I didn't want to start the first few months of next year still working on this video, so I just gave up. What I think is interesting about these projects is that if I take a step back and look at them like this, I can have a broader sense of why I failed and it can inform my future decisions. The major thing I noticed is that I tend to gravitate towards large projects, like let's build a website, let's launch a channel where I'll summarize every movie or show I see, let's make an experimental video every week, let's make a highlight video every week. The reason I do these large projects is that I feel like my content is all over the place and I want to find the ultimate project that I'll work on for the foreseeable future. Like if I just commit to this project, then my life will be solved and I won't have to stay in this limbo of not knowing what to do. But the issue with starting large projects is that I'm more likely to burn out. I think I had the right idea at the start of the year to do small experiments, but the problem was that I was forcing myself to work on stuff I didn't really care about. And also I wanted to do that every week, which then falls into the category of large projects. So my theme for 2026 is Year of Smaller. When I work on a project, I should try to reduce it to a simple component. Like instead of mashing up all the movies that came out this year, why don't I just mash up 10 movies in a 20-second video? And then with smaller projects, I can be like, okay, I actually like this. Kind of want to continue working on that. I think it's better to start small and maybe expand than to start big and give up. I know for this current project, I should have made it about a single project from last year to start small, but when am I ever consistent with my goals? Anyways, I'm glad I'm releasing this video instead of having it be featured in a 2027 video about the projects I abandoned in 2026. Thank you all for watching.